Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Mafex Batman Hush Scarecrow. I pre-ordered this guy from AmiAmi.com. If you're ordering your Mafex figure from Big Bad Toy Store or other American websites, you're probably paying, number one, far too much, and number two, waiting far too long to actually get the figure. I'll drop a line in the description below. In the meantime, let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, Batman Hush Scarecrow, Batman Hush version, Mafex. Here he is on the package. We have a ton of accessories. I see extra hands, extra heads, even an unmasked head. One side of the package, Batman Hush, Scarecrow there. Other side, here Scarecrow posts up. This is the 229th figure in the Mafex line. On the back, you can see Scarecrow with a bunch of different accessories and a bunch of different display options. At the bottom, there's the barcode, in case that helps anybody. So with no further ado, let's open them up. And of course, I did get two of these Scarecrow figures, one of which to open and enjoy, the other one to keep unopened in my complete Batman-related unopened action figure collection. Alright, now that we have this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. He has 6 alternate hands, totaling 8 interchangeable hands, a total of 3 heads, and a display stand. Before I take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is the Scarecrow. His real name is Jonathan Crane. He's obsessed with fear and has a fear toxin to sort of immobilize any of his victims. In Batman Hush, he has his traditional Scarecrow look. So let's take a closer look. So, start with his head. He's got that tall hat. It's got a little rope wrap around it. And then his face here. He's got sort of mask around it. Almost like a burlap sack. You can see the bottom of it around his neck. More rope tying his neck. He's got yellow hair, which looks like straw. His clothing is all stitched together. You can see all the different stitching up and down his arms, legs, etc., etc. He truly looks like a scarecrow that would be hanging up in somebody's farm. Fingers super long, exaggerated, almost scary. More ropes around his wrists and around his ankles. It looks like we have Mafex style double jointed elbows, and it looks like single jointed knees. For the most part, he's a really good traditional looking scarecrow. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt, which I think looks pretty good. He has that weird mask. He has got almost stitched together mouth. Almost like maybe he gets a little bit of side eye thing going on. But like I said, a traditional looking scarecrow. We get so many weird versions over the years, it's nice to have a regular looking one. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with his display stand. His display stand, at least the main part, comes in 3 separate pieces. When put together, it's going to look like this. At the bottom, we have a large base with 3 different slots to put the posts. Then we have the actual post. At the bottom, it can rotate. It's hinged, hinge in the middle, hinge near the top, rotation at the top, and then it has this clamp to hold your figure in place. Now let's look at his hands. He has a total of 8 of them, 4 left hands and 4 right hands. Here's his first pair of hands. These are a pair of default hands. They would look good relaxed at his sides. I also kind of get a vibe that maybe he could have his hand out, sort of spraying fear toxin out of his gloves. And here's his second pair of hands. They look like some grabbing hands, although maybe they could grip something really large. And his third pair of hands, he's also like a pair of grabbing hands with a much larger grab. And his final pair of hands, these are some completely open hands. They look pretty creepy, almost look like spiders. And I was sort of thinking in my head, it'd be nice if this version of Scarecrow came with a scythe. But, to tell you the truth, he doesn't really have any hands that would properly grip it. Now let's look at his heads. He has 3 of them. One with a smiling expression, one with the mouth open like he's screaming, and then we have the unmasked Jonathan Crane head. Here's a look at his first head. This one has the smiling expression. Here's his second head. This one has the mouth open, he's screaming. Look at the stitching around his mouth. It looks great. And here's his final head. This one has the unmasked Jonathan Crane head. He has blonde hair, but dark brown eyebrows, so something doesn't match here. Doesn't really look like what I'm familiar with Jonathan Crane looking like. This guy looks like kind of a rat. Here's a look at 4 different unmasked Scarecrow Jonathan Crane figures that I have. He has a wide variety of looks. two of which have really dark hair, almost black. One has blonde hair, and one has sort of orange or ginger hair. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of where his head would be, he's standing probably about 6.25 inches tall. And if we go to the bottom to the top of his head, about 6.9 inches tall. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course, he can rotate side to side. He can look up, not very much, down about that far. He can tilt his head at least a little bit from side to side. He does have articulation both at the top of the neck and the bottom of the neck. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around. He has kind of drop down shoulders. He has this extra sort of ring here covering the gap and giving him a much wider range of motion. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. His wrist can rotate and it's hinged as well. His torso, he has a ball joint. Rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist. Rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, very good range of motion in the torso area. Legs, they only go out about this far. Ball joints, there's a little bit of rotation there. He does have drop down hips. They look pretty bad when they're dropped all the way down, but just push them right back up. Legs go forward, all the way, back, more than I expected. He has single jointed knee, or I guess it functions like a double jointed knee, but it looks really, really nice that way. Then his ankle, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, at least a little bit, and of course, to articulation. Here's a look at Scarecrow holding a Sith in the graveyard under the moonlight. Now let's check them out next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Scarecrow figures. Here's this Mafex version of the Hush Scarecrow next to the DC Direct version. They scale up pretty similar. DC Direct just a tad taller. They both look pretty damn good. And here he is next to the only other Mafex Scarecrow. This is from the Dark Knight trilogy. And here he is with all my McFarlane DC Multiverse Scarecrow figures. Then, with all my DC Direct Scarecrow figures. To my knowledge, the only one I'm missing is the Super Friends Scarecrow. Next, with all of my Mattel Scarecrow figures. For the longest time, this Mattel DC Superhero Scarecrow has been my favorite in my collection. It's just exactly how I want the Scarecrow to look. Tall, lanky, and looks like an actual Scarecrow from the farm. He may be dethroned by this Mafex one, but I still really like this Mattel version. It's a hard choice. I think this Mafex one might be my favorite Scarecrow at this point. And now, with a couple of older Kenner Scarecrow figures, here's a look at all of my Scarecrow figures. I believe I'm missing two of them in the 6 and 7 inch scale. That is the DC Direct Super Friends Scarecrow and the DC Direct Dark Victory Scarecrow. Now the next Scarecrow figures I plan to get, there's a third-party Dark Knight version of Scarecrow, and McFarlane is going to be doing a Batman Begins Scarecrow. Looking forward to adding those to the collection. Now let's check them out. Next is some other action figures I use for Scarecrow thugs or henchmen. Here he is, next to 3 different Hasbro Marvel Legends Jack-O-Lantern. These are the retro Spider-Man version. And here he is, with some more Jack-O-Lantern figures. These are Hasbro Marvel Legends from the comics. And here, with some older Toy Biz Marvel Legends Jack-O-Lantern figures. Then, with some older Toy Biz Jack-O-Lantern figures. These are from Spider-Man the Animated Series. I got these way back in the day when there were very few options for Scarecrow henchmen or thugs. Next, with a couple of Scarecrow henchmen based off the video game Arkham Knight. Here's Scarecrow, next to some McFarlane Fortnite Skull Trooper figures. These are 7 inch scale and work better with the McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. And here, with some McFarlane Fortnite Green Glow Skull Trooper figures. These are also 7 inch scale. Then, Jazzware started making some Fortnite figures. They did 6 inch scale Fortnite figures. And here are some purple Skull Trooper figures. Next, Jazzware's made some traditional black and white Skull Troopers. And now, next to some more Jazzware Skull Troopers, these are inverted versions, white and black. And finally, next to a loose collector La Muerta figure. Now let's check him out next to some other Mafex Hush figures. Here he is, next to all 3 versions of Batman from Hush. And here, next to the Mafex Nightwing and Huntress from Hush. Here's Scarecrow next to the Hush Superman. And here, next to the Hush Catwoman. Then, next to both Hush and Jason Todd as Hush. Next, with the Hush Joker and Harley Quinn. And now, with the Hush Poison Ivy. Here's the entire Mafex Batman Hush collection, at least so far. I believe the next one to come out is going to be the Riddler, but there are many more figures they're making from Hush. We have Batgirl, Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, another version of Batman, Ra's al Ghul, and then of course, Robin. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a Mafex figure, they're typically the 6-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the smaller action figure lines I collect, and work my way larger. Here he is with some Jazzwares Fortnite figures, and some SH Figure Arts action figures, and now with some Hasbro Marvel Legends, and some more Mafex figures. Here's a Scarecrow next to a little bottle of habanero honey mustard, and here he is with some Mattel and Mezco DC figures, then with both some Jazzwares and Mattel wrestling figures, and now with some NECA and DC Direct figures. Next, with some Diamond Select toys and Jakks Pacific wrestling figures. And finally, with some McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. So overall, this is an absolutely fantastic Scarecrow figure. It might be my favorite one in my collection, and I have quite a few of them. My only complaints would be, sure, I wish it was 7-inch scale. That's my preferred scale, but I'm not going to hold that against this figure. Mafex is a 1/12 scale line, maybe slightly larger, 6.5 inches. This Scarecrow looks great. I guess I'd also complain, a little bit low on accessories. He only has hands and heads, no actual Scarecrow accessories. Maybe a bag of fear gas, maybe a Sith, maybe a fear gun. There's all kind of stuff he could potentially come with. His accessories are a little on the weak side. Sculpt and paint job are excellent. Articulation is pretty nice as well. If I were to rate this figure, I would give him a very solid 8.5 out of 10. It is a very solid release, a very good Scarecrow figure, and a very good Mafex release. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it in the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.